Hey everybody, welcome to Cross Country Camper. The Holmes brothers here. We just wanted to give you an update on the Boles Aero, our family's travel trailer. If you're new to the channel, I'll put a link in the description below to our other videos so you can be updated. Here is a quick little recap. We're refurbishing our family's 1950 Boles Aero aluminum travel trailer. We've been at it for a while. Today is March 28th. 2019, and we wanted to give you the first official tour of the Boles Aero. Obviously it's a work in progress and we're going to be changing things, updating things, but we wanted to give you a tour today. We will be going back and showing you how we got to this point, but we figured since it was the third video, this was a good time to give you a tour of our baby. So welcome, let's go.
Hey everybody, Trevor here. I'm going to give you a quick tour of the exterior of our trailer. One thing we had to do is replace some corroded aluminum which occurred over years of weathering around areas of this trailer. So right here you'll see we have this taped up right now, but what we did is we essentially cut out the aluminum. Oh, I can't peel that off. Oh, we cut out the aluminum which is right here. And what we're going to do is repatch it. It was completely rotten and that corrosion was spreading up into the main wall, and we didn't want to replace all this, so we did a quick patch which looks something like what I've done with the taillights on the rear here is what it's going to look like. So it's going to match, it's going to look like some nice solid aluminum, but it's also going to preserve the life of our trailer. Alright, so one thing that we had to do on the trailer was completely redo all the electrical. So I redid all the electrical for the taillights was the first step. And when we did that, we went ahead and just bought some modernized taillights. These are like the cheapest things you can get at Napa for like a trash trailer. And they work out great. But if you look here, I had to patch some extra aluminum over it because the hole that these were taking were far smaller than the original vintage holes of the old lights. So I needed a smaller hole on the aluminum, so I put a nice patch over it. And if you look at these rivets here, so these are these buck pop rivets that you can get which match the original rivets, but they're pop rivets so you can access it from the front. But when you cut off the tails, it leaves this little burr, so you really got to grind that down, make it smooth so that it looks like the original rivet of the time. Okay guys, so here's a little tour of the front. This is definitely still a work in progress and probably will be until long after we're done with the project. I anticipate I'm gonna need more batteries eventually, and it's a whole question of storage on this trailer where we put those batteries. So for now, what we've done is we've eliminated one of the propane tanks, okay? And because these vintage trailers, you'd put two propane tanks on right here, which is why it has two slots for it. So what we did is we put a battery box here, which we mounted with some L-bracketing steel. And right now it's kind of a mess. Our solar panels are totally like set up once you get to camp, which is what you see here, which is why we have all these wires going everywhere. So eventually, the main goal will be to build a nice box where all this can sit in. And then all we have to do is run our solar panel directly to this so that this is nice and weatherproof, so is the battery, and also so that the battery is out of the main compartment. AGM batteries still do off gas if you do enough research. And I know it's not that big of an issue, but I like to play it safe, so we've kept all our batteries on the exterior instead of having to build an enclosed vented box from the interior and drilling a vent hole and all that stuff. make sure you do your research before you invest in your battery if you're doing a trailer project like what we're doing. For example, I went and bought a starter battery, which is no good. You want a nice AGM battery with an amp hour reading on it, which is something that I've yet to update. But once we do, that should be much better. This starter battery from Napa has worked fine for our lights and everything, just fine, and the fan. But once we purchased a nice little 12-volt fridge, it just drains it immediately because it just doesn't have the oomph. So make sure you guys take that into account and don't waste, like, I don't know, 60 bucks, 80 bucks, I forget how much it was. Yeah. All right.
So in our last video, I promised to talk about the windows a little bit. We did have a few of the windows, unfortunately, over the years that had actually broken. None of them were fully broken, but they just had some cracks. So we took them up to our local glass place in Idlewild, which is awesome. And they were able to replace these window panes. This one was actually replaced, you can tell because we have a label on it. And these windows are put together in a very peculiar way compared to most windows. So when my dad and I were working on them, as Trevor was working on all the other stuff in the trailer, since we kind of kept splitting off and working on projects, we had to go around to each piece and basically take the window apart. This is a new window gasket that we installed, and basically we did this on all the windows. And we had to take the screens out from the inside, pull out all the pieces. I'll show you the levers and everything when we go inside. And we wire brushed all the components, then kind of put them back together, put a new screen on, and yeah, the windows are all working pretty well. They have bent a little bit because of just warping over the years, but I was actually really surprised to see how well they all work and how amazing this mechanism actually is. So now with these new gaskets, it hasn't been leaking water anymore and seemed to be working really well. We wire brushed all of these were really rusty, and we actually ended up getting a couple of new ones too. But at this point, all the windows are redone. So here's the back window. We had to have this replaced as well. It had a crack all the way through it, so we ended up getting the opportunity to throw a tint on it, which is nice since it's the bedroom, and that makes everything really nice in there when you're waking up in the morning and you don't want the sun blaring in. And it's also great for privacy. So Trevor and I are going to take you inside of the trailer now, and that's what we're excited about, to give you the first glimpse of everything we've done in there. Let's go.
So, welcome to what we've done so far to the interior of the Boles Aero. I'm going to give you a quick tour of some stuff that I did, then Justin's going to talk about some stuff that he did in here. This was one thing that had to be rebuilt. This is the closet. And one thing I did is I just copied the exact measurements of everything. So this is the original door, fitting in the exact same measurement of the original closet. I took a template from the original closet. When I pulled it out, again, we didn't use any of the original, well, again, we tried to use as less of the original wood as possible because it was rotting, but in areas like the kitchen and some of the seats, we still have some of those old pieces in here, which is pretty nice. But check this out. So again, original mirror, original door. Look, Justin, you can see yourself. Whoa, 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 whoa. And then, one thing I changed in here is that this whole closet was open all the way to the floor, which is great if you're hanging all of your clothing pieces, which I do not do. This was an area where people had suits. Now we have shorts and t-shirts. So we put everything in drawers for the most part. And then all this storage is for is like guitars, backpacks, helmets, stuff like that. One thing that I integrated into here are these drawers. So down here when we go camp, but this is designed to fit another drawer up here so that we both have areas to put our clothing. My drawer is not in here because I'm lazy. After the last camp trip, I've been putting all my clothing back in that drawer on top of my dresser in my bedroom. Oops. And now, over here is our future countertop PlayStation area, okay? This is going to be the fun zone of the trailer, and this is something that I've been kind of designing and trying to build. I just got the lumber today, so this is going to happen within the next week. It's going to store our fridge. I got a cheap Causeway fridge through Amazon. This is like half the price of Dometic. I'm not sure, maybe Dometic's better energy usage because they are double the price, but we're going to give this a go around. I have a 2-year warranty on it if it doesn't work out. Again, though, we're going to need to get that AGM higher rated battery to run this puppy off our solar. Up here is going to be a 12 volt powered entertainment system. We're going to have a little television up here and a plug to power that. Back here we have a 12 volt plug to power our fridge. We're going to have an area under here. We have our hidden porta potty, which we haven't used yet. We've gone camping 3 times, but that's strictly for emergency use only, and luckily we haven't had any emergencies. So that's going to be tucked away in this large countertop unit as well. And we also have a really cool idea of integrating a bike storage system on top of this, which will probably use 80/20 aluminum to integrate that in to the top of the counter, because we can pop that right off. Up here in the future, we're also going to have cabinetry for our dishes and a nice hood vent that you can purchase through Amazon. They're like 60 to 70 bucks, and they're 12 volt powered. That's going to plug in, push all of our grease and stuff off this awesome vintage stove out of the trailer so it doesn't stick to our ceiling so much. Alright guys, so another thing that one of the projects that I was mainly focused on in the trailer was the electrical systems, the 12 volt electrical to be exact, running from a battery and making all your lights and stuff powered throughout your trailer or your caravan or whatever unit you're building. And it's an eye-opener. One cool thing we did though is we bought these neat toggle switches, which I love, and you have an on and off, and these, if I turn it on, power these awesome inset lights. Again, all 12 volt powered. These are on Amazon. They're very cheap. Got a lot of this stuff through Amazon. Bought all the wiring through Napa. If you look over here, here's another set of lights. We have 4 of these around the trailer, and these are all on individual switches. They're little reading lights. So if you're in the dinette, which is under here, which also turns to a bed, you have a nice area to light. You can move these around to light whatever you need. And over here, we're going to have more lights over here that'll light our work area in our kitchen. Oh, and over here, this is the bed.
Okay, so here's the dinette in the trailer. I guess I'll start here. In our next video, you'll see that we had to evacuate with the trailer right in the middle of the building process. And we decided to take the trailer with us because of Southern California forest fires, which happened in a lot of places, as well as Idlewild. So in taking the trailer, we didn't want to leave the dinette, so we actually ended up putting it back in without refurbishing it. But this gives you a chance to see the difference between the dinette and the kitchen. The kitchen is all done. This is actually the original front panel of the kitchen itself, and these are all the drawers. This is even the original cupboard, cabinets and everything with all the hardware on. Basically the rotting mostly happened in the back, so the entire back I ripped apart and put new wood, reframed it just as it was, and then we were able to sand this down and then refinish it, and you can see that it actually matches really well. This is the old before redoing it. This is the new, and then of course we'll repaint this drawer, this cupboard front as well. So the dinette, we did not do the upholstery work. An upholsterer up here named Steve did this. He did a great job. We wanted to go for a vintage look, kind of like a diner. So this is the original table. We're probably gonna make a new table eventually, but we're just rolling with this one still right now. And these are the original cushions with the springs inside and everything. It's actually really comfortable to sit in. And then this, of course, folds down and becomes a bed. Then we throw another mattress on top just for comfort. And as we were talking about the windows earlier, we've been working on the curtains. As everything's a work in progress, right now they just have magnets. And I haven't sewn all of them, but this is basically what we're going to be doing, is having curtain rod. The magnets hold them in place if you want them to stay there without kind of sliding back and forth. And then we're using key rings to sew on. So right here I have them sewn on pretty well, but I still just have to put some more on. Again, we were working on the curtains really fast, and then we've camped in it a few times while it's in its kind of flux stages, so that's why certain things are finished and then certain things aren't, but we're just going to keep going and posting these videos. The stove and oven is in the trailer. Our mom cleaned this up. We had to take it out and everything, and it's back now in its exact spot, and it works great. This is a Western Holly, California, and this is the original oven and stove that was in here. We put it right back, and it's actually one of the best I've ever cooked on, so it's really cool that it's in here. Windows from the inside. As I showed you on the outside, this is how the window hardware works. And it is old, but it's still working really well, actually. Once we polished all these pieces, put them back in, put a new screen on, it all worked out really well. Sorry the windows are a mess. It's been sitting here through the Idlewild winter. And this also gives you a good chance to see our little cross section of where we have the insulation, so the Reflectix styrofoam insulation, the birch wood, and then of course we have to put the original window flashing, which was aluminum pieces that we've saved, that has to go around all of this. As you can see, Trevor put in all of the wall panels, and Dad and I helped hold these in. That was a really long and arduous process that you'll see in a video coming up soon. And of course we're going to be putting in trim to cover up all these seams that you see between the birch pieces, but all of these are brand new birch pieces, which is the same type of wood that was originally used, cut from the exact old pieces of wood. So these are exact to every single piece that was in this trailer. They're just brand new pieces of wood.
Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button and feel free to share. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications to know about our future videos. Feel free to comment or ask any questions as well. And of course, thank you for watching.